All right, y'all. All right. Let's talk about the Hometown Heroes program. Let's talk about the Hometown Heroes program. If you know someone that needs to own a home this 2024 year, let's get them on here. Let's talk about home ownership. Let's talk about grants. Let's talk about programs. Excited. Hey, y'all, I'm excited for some great news that I have. I'm excited about some great news that I have. Just got an opportunity to partner up with one of my partners here at my brokerage to move a property that is on the water, that is in Jupiter Beach, that is valued at anywhere between $6 to $7 million. So I'm excited about that. So talk about Hello July. But what I want to come on here about, I want to talk about some Hometown Heroes opportunity. So if you're a first-time home buyer, just drop a 1 in the chat. If you're a first-time home buyer, just drop a 1. Or maybe you don't own a home and you desire to own a home, drop a 1 in the chat and then share this with your friend. Share this with your friend that needs to own a home this 2024 year. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down the Hometown Heroes program for you guys. I'm going to talk to you guys about the pros, the cons, and the stuff that the other people won't tell you about. The other stuff other people won't tell you about. Let's invite some people. Let's continue to invite some people. If one of your friends does not own a home and they're renting and their credit is stopping them from owning a home, I want to connect with them. If they're in the process of buying a home and they don't know about this Hometown Heroes program that's for our Florida residents, I want to connect with them. I want to connect with the people that do not own a home. Hometown Heroes is officially open. So what does this mean? This means that if you have not purchased a property in the last 3 years, the government sees you as a first-time home buyer. The government sees you as a person that can purchase a property with a score at 640 or greater. The government sees you as somebody that can receive up to $35,000 or 5% of the purchase price. So what does this mean? This means that if you buy a property for $550,000, 5%, you would receive up to $27,500 that can either go to your closing costs or your down payment. So how do I calculate closing costs and down payment? I like to always say, hey, if you're a first-time home buyer, you're going to go FHA, you're going to go conventional. So my conventional buyers are going to go $550. Let's say, for example, we go 5% down. That's right there is $27,500. You want to calculate your closing costs to be about 4%. And what do your closing costs entail? Your closing costs entails your prepaids, your taxes, your interest, okay, your title company fees, your lending fees. If there's any brokerage fees as well, it includes that as well. So what I like to do is I like to calculate that at 550 times 4. We got a little friend in here. Times 4%. That's going to be $22,000. So then I'm going to take the $22,000 with the $27,500. That's going to be, if I want to buy a house for $550,000, that means I'm going to need $49,000. You guys see that? Conventional 5%, $27,500. Closing costs $22,000. Grand total of $49,500 at $550,000. If you're purchasing a home at a lower amount, obviously your down payment and closing costs is going to be less. If you are going FHA, it's 3.5% down. If you're going VA, you obviously know that the government provides you an opportunity to purchase your own home at 100% down payment. So what are the requirements now? Okay, so must be a Florida resident, must be employed in the state of Florida. That means the employer must be based out of the state of Florida. So if I work for an airline that is not based out of Florida, I do not qualify. If the government, not the government, if the corporate office of my building is not based out of Florida, I do not qualify. But if my job is based out of Florida, then I do have an opportunity to qualify for this program, okay? 640 credit score. If your score is not at the 640s, I have programs, I have partners of mine, and not every credit person is a one-stop fits all type of opportunity. So I like to really get on the phone with people and say, hey, based off of your credit, I advise that you do this. Based off of your credit, I believe that you should speak to this person, or based off your credit, I believe you should speak to that person, okay? So if you do not have a 640 credit score, I have a lender that will do what's called a soft credit pool. I have a lender that will do a soft credit pool, and they will pull your credit so like that you don't get those hard inquiries on there, and they can say, hey, this is what we see on your credit report. These are the items that you need to get adjusted. These are the items that you need to fix. And with that soft credit pool, it doesn't even show up. As you guys know, it does not even show up. So 640 credit score or greater, I have the recipe to get your credit fixed. Okay. Florida-based job, okay, must be employed for 24 months. So you must have worked at your job for 24 months. Doesn't need to be the same job, but must have been employed for the last 24 months at this job that is based out of Florida. Must file your tax returns for the last 2 years. So 2023, 2022 taxes must have been completed, filed, and recorded. Okay. We will need a copy of your W-2s. We will need all your tax documents. We will need a copy of your driver's license. We will also need your pay stubs and your bank statements. So when it comes to bank statements and pay stubs, we typically look at the last 2 months of your bank statements and your pay stubs. But if you are self-employed, not only do we have other programs out there for you, like bank statement loans and DSCR loan programs that are out there for you, but you do also qualify for this program as well. What we will need is we would also need a profit and loss from you, and we would need your 1099. So if you're self-employed, I highly recommend self-employed people to either go to Paycheck, go to ADP, go to some type of system, and make sure that you're using QuickBooks to log your stuff in, because right inside of QuickBooks, you can pull your profit and loss if you're using your credit cards, your debit cards that are linked, okay? So we discovered 640 credit score, must be employed by the state of Florida, okay, must be on your job for 24 months, okay, must be a first-time home buyer who has not owned a home in the past 3 years, has not been on title in the past 3 years. So, hey, I co-signed for my brother 6 years ago. Yes, you have been a homeowner before, so therefore you don't qualify. So what happens is sometimes people believe that because they didn't occupy the home, the mere fact that you co-signed for someone does make you a homeowner, okay? But I got another program for that. I have what's called a non-occupant purchasing program that's out there. So maybe this doesn't work for you, but the non-occupant purchasing program does work for you if you're looking to fall into that, okay? So what are the cons of this opportunity now? The cons of this opportunity now is that it is for the remainder of the life of the loan. So if you get a 30-year loan, 30 years is the remainder of the life of that $35,000, or up to 5% that you receive. So what happens if you sell the house in 5 years? What happens if you sell the house in 10 years? What happens is that you will be required to pay that money back. So let's say, for example, you get $27,500. At the time that you sell the property, obviously we know that properties are appreciating each and every single day, regardless of what area we're in. You still have access to those funds, okay? But you must pay those funds back at the time that you close on the home, okay? That's number one. Now, let's say, for example, you decide to maybe rent the property out, okay? So the law believes that you must have the intent to reside in the home. If you desire to rent the property out, yes, you would be entitled to return those funds back as well, okay? But this may be a program that is out there for someone that wants to own a home. They desire to own a home, but they just don't have the funds and the merits to own a home. So what does that mean? That means that this is the right program for you at this moment, because it's going to get you into the doors of your first home. So maybe this is a home that you're going to be buying that's maybe 1,200 square feet, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath property that you're then going to sell in 5 years, and you're going to buy your 1,700 square foot home, your 2,500 square foot home, your 3,000 square foot home. This is a stepping stone to get you into a home. Average rent out there for a 2-bedroom is $2,800. Rent on a 3-bedroom is probably $3,100. Rent on something else is probably $4,000, $5,000, depending on the location that you're in. So when you think about it, rent versus mortgage, it's the lesser of the evil, right? Especially when you're getting the funding for free. But I also have other programs as well. I have the Home Zero program, which is 100% down payment. If you're a veteran, I have a 100% down payment program for you as well. We have the Florida Bond program, which gives you up to $10,000 towards closing costs. We do have a great relationship with Habitat for Humanity of Broward and Miami-Dade, where there's programs for you to purchase a home. And then after that, we have our DSCR loan program out there. If you're someone that is an investor and you're looking to purchase a home, we have funding for you out there where you don't need to put down 20%. You do not need to put down 20%. Okay. And what are some other negatives of the Hometown Hero program is that if you purchase the property, and let's say, for example, you decide to sell it the next day, you will still be required to give back those funds as well. So that's the Hometown Heroes program. I'm excited about it because what it's doing, it's really helping people bridge the gap. It's really helping people that say, hey, I don't have 20,000. I don't have 40,000. I don't have 50,000. I literally had customers that had money in the account, like their savings account, their checking accounts, and they were able to tap into this program last year. And what we were able to do is we were able to see them pay off their credit cards, pay off their student loans, pay off their vehicles. So think about it that way as well. If I have an influx of debt that I need to isolate, could I use this program to get me to the next level? Okay. Now, in addition to that, you have to also consider that, hey, I can also layer this. I can layer this with not a governmental program, but I can layer this with city programs as well. I can layer this with other institutions that are giving away free money towards home ownership. Like, for example, if you're a Miami-Dade employee, they have a program for you. If you're a part of any cities that are giving away free money, they have incentives for you. And then lastly, you can always layer this with a seller's concession. So let's say, for example, the seller wants to provide to you 3% on a conventional loan. They can do that. They want to provide to you 4% on a VA loan. They can do that. Or they want to provide to you 6%, which I've been able to do several times last year. They have the opportunity to do that on an FHA loan. So let's say, for example, again, $550 times 6%, I'm getting $33,000 from the seller. The lower tier of that, $425 times 6%, I'm getting $25,000 from the seller. So this can really be your gateway into really paying off the debt, paying off the medical bills, paying off the credit cards, getting into a home, and win. So if your goal is to own a home, we have the platform for you. I have tons of programs out there for you to get you into a home. So don't just think back. Don't renew that lease. Don't say, hey, home ownership is not possible. I literally had a great friend of mine get pre-approved on Wednesday, saw a property on Friday, and executed a contract on Saturday, and is closing in about 2 weeks from now. And this was all in a short 30-day window. I had 2 of my buyers today get their name on the list, secure their funds, and now is able to become homeowners and receiving $17,000. Is going to be closing on the 9th of this month. The next person is closing on the 12th of this month and is receiving $17,000 just like that. So if you ever believe that home ownership was stressful, if you ever believe that it was not obtainable, if you ever believe that it's just too many loops and too much information and things that just cannot be possible, and you've heard some horror stories, you definitely want to revisit the team that you're working with and give us a chance. Give my lenders, give my title company, give my credit restoration people, give my home inspectors, give my real estate professionals a chance to show you what we can do to get you guys to the level of owning a home. Because I'm just excited. I'm just excited that this program has been out. About 2 years ago, this program came out, and to see how fast the money was in and as quick as the money was gone, I know that this is going to happen again this year. I know this is going to happen again. I've seen the ads. I see the realtors advertising about it. I see the lenders advertising about it. I see the credit repair people talking about it. So the money's not going to last, ladies and gentlemen. It's $100 billion, I believe. And those funds are going to be here today and they're going to be gone tomorrow. But guess what? Guess what? Even though you are in the process of purchasing your house, the lender can secure those funds. The lender can secure those funds. I even have lenders that are forfeiting their opportunities, or not really forfeiting. I have lenders that are basically putting the money out up front and collecting it on the back end. So what they're doing is they're basically putting their brokerage, their mortgage brokerage, to fund the money so that you make sure that you close, and they're collecting it on the back end. And we've been doing that actually for the past couple of weeks. We've had lenders and lending institution put the money up front to get our buyers to closing. So some of our buyers have already been tapping into the program, and I'm excited about that. Really, really excited about that. Don't know if you guys have any questions for me about the Hometown Hero program, but this is the avenue that I'm going to be speaking about for the next couple of days, next couple of weeks. And I'm really going to be working to create homeowners out of this. This is like, it changes people's lives when you're able to own a home and you're able to call it your own, you know. Not only do you have to worry about your rent not going up, but you also, statistics have proven that people that own homes sometimes have better health, less stress. Their kids are more stable because they're not moving from left to right. You know, it shows stability within a home. You know, you have the opportunity of the appreciation of home values. Home values do appreciate. Do not think that, do not believe that we're in a market where it's just not going to appreciate. Think about the homes that your parents bought in the 90s for $80,000, in the 2000s for $200,000. Those homes have appreciated. And guess what? They believed back then that we were at our max. They believed that they couldn't see worse than a 15% interest rate, and here comes a 17% interest rate. They couldn't see worse than an 8% interest rate, and here comes an 11% interest rate. So everything comes back full circle. We understand that, and we know that as individuals. So do not believe that the $400,000, $500,000 home that you're purchasing right now is not going to accelerate into a $600,000, $700,000 home in the future. So that's my value. That's my 2 cents. I want to create homeowners. I want people to tap into this program. I'm ready to go to work, sleepless nights to ensure that homeownership becomes capable for whomever believes that it's not, because our slogan has always been to make dreams a reality. And that's really what we stand behind. That is really what we stand behind, is to creating that. We design the blueprints. I literally spoke to a young lady today that I'm going to make an example from her. I'm going to make an example. She's a nursing assistant. She's loaded in debt. She has a JP Morgan, a Chase, a Costco. She has some late payments on there. Her car insurance is skyrocketed. Her car note and her car insurance are about the same amount. And she's loaded with doctor bills. And what's going to happen is her credit score is a 525. And what's going to happen is that we're going to sit down and we're going to create the blueprint for her to tell her, hey, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do this, you need to do that. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? It may not happen this year, but in the next 12 to 24 months, she's going to remember this day. She's going to remember this day, and she's going to notice that she's now a homeowner, because what she's going to do is she's going to follow the blueprint that's been designed for her. I got another young lady that we spoke to, 170K in income, but bad credit. But she has nothing on her credit. So what we need to do is we now need to give her authorized users onto her account to now get her qualified. So not everyone's situation is the same. But understand that if you speak to a professional and you tell them, hey, I may not be ready right now, but I want you to design the blueprints. If you're partnered up with the right people, it's going to happen. I literally had a young lady that I sent to one lender, and the one lender just said, hey, you're not ready right now. And what we were able to do was we were able to partner her up with another lender. And the other lender picked up the phone, designed her blueprint, and all she can say is that, man, the person you put me with is amazing. They're helping me. I literally check this out, ladies and gentlemen. I literally was depressed. I was sad. I didn't believe that I can ever own a home when I spoke to the first lender because they did not draw the blueprints out for me. And she went missing, and I could not understand where she had gone. And I had just followed up with her, and I came to find that out, and I was moved. I was moved to hear her text message just the other day of her telling me how amazed she is that this lender is taking the time to work with her. So do not always believe that everyone is formulated the same. Do not always believe that everything must fit into the four squares of a box, okay? There are different stories out there, and your story will not match the next person's story. But if you're committed and you're resilient and you're determined to make it happen, home ownership can definitely happen. I know people that have taken out private loans to own a home because it's been a stepping stone. And these are $1 million properties that I'm speaking of, okay? I know people that have partnered up with their family members to co-sign for them. Their aunts, their uncle. I'm literally got a gentleman right now that has his brother co-signing for him so he can get into a home. And then guess what? They're going to flip it. When his brother gets out the military, his brother's not going to purchase a home and he's going to co-sign for the brother. So we're creating opportunities out there by just brainstorming. And that's why it's kind of important to schedule a consultation with a professional. You know, what happens is that we don't believe in the power of the consultation, but with the consultation that you're able to diagnose what is the situation, you're able to bring in your partners. I love when I'm able to bring the lender, the credit restoration person into the consultation Zoom. It's normally by Zoom, and we're able to discuss, hey, what do we need to work on? How can we get you there? What's the goal? What's the game plan? And really work on your time. The young lady I was on the phone with earlier, I said, can you get the stuff to me by Wednesday? And she's like, I don't really think so. And I can hear the stress in her voice. I said, let's do this. Let's go ahead and let's speak this time. It was 5:30. Let's go ahead and speak at 5:30 next Monday. And let's really review the documents that you're going to send me, you know? And that's also why it's very important that even though you're not a lender, if you're a realtor, any realtors that are here, that you understand every avenue of what's going on. That you can understand if a person needs credit restoration, that you can understand if a person's going to need down payment assistance, if a person is going to need some type of special financing, because sometimes it's not going to be your conventional VA, FHA. You got to be able to be educated. So as realtors, we have to continue to educate ourselves, continue to be students, continue to break bread and rub shoulders with those people that are part of our avenue. You know, so many times when I even speak to title companies, I say, hey, send me over how you guys are going to be recording the deed, because I want to make sure that that deed is reflected correctly. Is it tenants in common? Is it joint tenancy? Is it right of survivorship? Like, what's going on here? Because sometimes the people don't know, but you can foresee as the professional. You can foresee a year from now, 5 years from now, 20 years from now, and you can automatically let them know what they need to do. And sometimes I see people even are about to hit probate, and I say, hey, you may want to consider getting a trust, getting a will, deeding the property off to someone else, because if this happens, then this is the cause of it. So let's go ahead and let's prevent that by doing X, Y, and Z. So just to recap for you guys, 640 credit score, up to $35,000 or 5% of the loan amount. Must be a Florida employee, must be a Florida resident, must have worked for the past 24 months, and must be hungry. You must be hungry to own a home. You must be determined. You must be available to look at properties, and you must understand to listen to the advice of your real estate professional. That's another one. Listen to the advice of the professional that's navigating you towards the right steps, because sometimes they already been through it, so they can walk you through it. I know buyers that have lost properties because they didn't do what they needed to do. You know, I know buyers that said, hey, let me do this instead of doing that, and then they end up losing out, and then they learn later on, you know. I literally had a buyer of mine that the sellers were asking like $675 for the home, and then the sellers dropped the price to $635. And we looked at it for a second time, and I said, hey, I think it's time we pull the trigger. And he says, no, I want to wait. We waited 24 hours, and that house was already gone. And now his wife keeps asking me, as we're continuing to look these days, his wife keeps asking me, hey, is that home still available? Is it back on the market? What's going on with it? And I said, no, it's gone, bye. So listen to the advice of your real estate professional, your lender. And if you don't understand something, ask questions. Do not believe there's a question that's stupid. Don't believe that there's a question that's not makes sense. Ask questions, because those questions are probably the questions that the lender never thought about. Those questions are probably the questions that they know the exact answer to. And those questions are sometimes the questions that we need to navigate and pivot to think of something else. I got a buyer right now that's a veteran that's purchasing a property. We're under contract, and the VA rules have changed. So now what do we need to do? We need to think outside the box and pivot, you know. But if we did not have the dialogue, the conversation, think outside the box together, we'd probably be canceling this deal, where we're now able to save this deal. We're able to save a commission check. We're able to get a buyer into a home. And his goal is to rent out the property until he gets released. And now he can go occupy the home or maybe buy another property. So that's that. I'm excited. 2024, July 2024. Once again, we just listed a property. We co-listed a home over $7 million. We have another seller that we're talking to at $7 million. So Palm Beach is looking like home, and a lot of opportunities are going to be happening. So if your goal is to own a home this 2024 year, I want to work with you. If your goal is to invest in real estate, purchase that commercial property, or do anything in the realm of real estate, or maybe you need some real estate assistance, I want to be that go-to person. Catch you guys later.